In a world where news headlines come and go, some moments pierce the heart so deeply that they leave an everlasting mark. One such moment was when Hollywood icon Angelina Jolie, known globally for her fame and humanitarian work, sat face to face with a young Muslim girl whose eyes carried more pain than words could ever express. What happened in that quiet, emotional exchange shocked the world. Not because it was loud or dramatic, but because it was real, raw, and deeply human. Jolie, who has traveled to war zones and refugee camps across the globe, has seen suffering up close. But something about this girl, her story, her silence, her scars, touched Jolie in a way that shattered the walls around her heart. And when the camera caught her wiping away tears she couldn't hold back, the world stopped and watched. That single tear carried the weight of thousands of untold stories. Stories of young Muslim children displaced, orphaned, and forgotten. Millions of people who saw the footage online found themselves crying with her, even if they had never met that child, even if they lived a world away, because in that moment, it wasn't about religion, race, or nationality. It was about humanity, and it was about the pain of the innocent, the courage of a young girl, and the compassion of a woman whose heart couldn't stay silent. Angelina Jolie has long been known for her commitment to humanitarian causes, especially those involving children and refugees. But during one of her missions to a war-torn Muslim region, something deeply personal unfolded. She met a young Muslim girl, barely able to speak, her eyes filled with trauma far beyond her years. Jolie sat down beside her, gently trying to connect, to offer comfort. The girl didn't cry, she didn't speak, she just looked at Jolie with the kind of silence that tells a story no words can carry. And that was the moment when everything changed. Jolie's face fell, her voice cracked, and her eyes welled up with tears. She couldn't hold it in. The pain, the injustice, the helplessness, it all poured out in a moment of shared heartbreak. What made this moment unforgettable was its sincerity. It wasn't staged, it wasn't part of a press briefing, it was real. A woman of immense fame and influence was moved to tears, not by a script, but by the truth of human suffering. That single interaction was more powerful than any speech she could have given. It reminded the world that behind the headlines are human lives. And sometimes, all it takes is one child's eyes to open the heart of a global icon. As the video of Angelina Jolie breaking down in front of the young Muslim girl spread across social media, it did more than just go viral. It awakened hearts. People from all walks of life, from every corner of the globe, watched that short clip and felt something shift inside them. It wasn't just about a famous actress crying. It was about the unspoken bond of human emotion, the kind that goes beyond language, culture, or religion. Jolie's tears were not just hers. They became the tears of millions who had ignored the suffering of Muslim refugees for far too long. This one moment brought attention to a reality the world often overlooks. Suddenly, people who had never paid attention to the refugee crisis or the Muslim struggle were now talking about it, sharing the video, researching the story behind it. News outlets, influencers, and humanitarian voices amplified the message that we cannot continue to ignore the pain of the innocent. And at the center of it all was a simple, silent exchange between two souls. One a child of war, the other a woman of fame. Forever connected by compassion, that moment made the world stop, reflect, and feel something real in an age of distractions. In the days following the viral moment, Angelina Jolie didn't just move on, she spoke up. Deeply impacted by the encounter, she began using her platform more boldly to advocate for the rights and dignity of Muslim refugees. What was once just a mission became a personal cause. She emphasized the importance of understanding the pain behind statistics, reminding the world that every number is a human life. Her voice echoed across interviews and platforms, urging world leaders, organizations, and ordinary citizens to take action, not out of charity, but out of shared humanity. This shift wasn't lost on her followers. Fans who had admired her for her acting now respected her for her courage and compassion. Many who had never paid attention to Muslim struggles began listening, learning, and empathizing. Jolie's actions sparked conversations in homes, classrooms, and governments. She challenged the narrative often painted around Muslim communities and showed that love, grief, and justice know no religious boundaries. The emotional connection she formed with that young girl became a symbol, one that reminded the world that even the most powerful voices can and should be used to uplift the most powerless. And sometimes, all it takes is one real moment to inspire global change. Angelina Jolie's emotional connection with the Muslim girl didn't just touch the public, it transformed Jolie's own journey. In interviews that followed, she spoke about how that single encounter opened her eyes to a deeper spiritual reality. She began exploring Islam not as an outsider looking in, but as someone genuinely seeking to understand its beauty, resilience, and values. The strength and patience she witnessed in that little girl, despite the unimaginable pain, left an imprint on her heart. Jolie often mentioned how the girl's silence said more than words ever could, and how that silence led her to question the deeper meaning of faith, suffering, and purpose. It wasn't long before people started noticing subtle shifts in Jolie's own mindset and messaging. She spoke more about justice, compassion, and equality, not just in humanitarian terms, but with a tone of spiritual depth. Her admiration for Islamic principles of peace, dignity, and community became clear. While she didn't rush to label her journey, it was evident that Islam had entered her heart in a quiet but powerful way. The world watched, and many were inspired, not just by the girl, but by the openness of a global icon, willing to learn, feel, and grow beyond boundaries. As Angelina Jolie continued to reflect on her powerful experience, something remarkable happened. Millions of people around the world began to reevaluate their own views. The image of a Hollywood icon shedding tears for a Muslim child shattered stereotypes that had long been pushed by mainstream media. It showed that empathy knows no religion, and compassion can bridge even the widest of cultural divides. People who had never paid attention to the suffering of Muslims started asking questions, educating themselves, and joining conversations they had once avoided. More importantly, this moment inspired a wave of unity. It wasn't just Muslims who felt seen and supported. It was humanity at large that felt reconnected. Faith leaders, peace activists, and everyday citizens found themselves united under the shared emotion that Jolie's tears ignited. Her action reminded the world that caring is courageous, and standing with the oppressed is never out of style. This emotional ripple effect proved that sometimes the biggest changes begin with a single, heartfelt moment. Angelina Jolie didn't need to give a speech or make a political statement. Her tears spoke louder than words, and in doing so, helped millions see Muslims not as headlines, but as humans, deserving of love, justice, and peace. Angelina Jolie's journey from Hollywood stardom to heartfelt empathy for a young Muslim girl is more than just a moment, it's a movement of compassion. Her tears reminded the world that true strength lies in standing up for the vulnerable, and that the most powerful change begins when hearts connect beyond religion, culture, or borders. She didn't just cry for one child, she cried for millions, and in doing so opened the hearts of countless others. In a time where division often overshadows unity, Angelina's actions showed that love still leads, and humanity still shines. Her silent gesture sparked a global conversation, a spiritual reflection, and a renewed sense of shared humanity. She reminded us all that no matter who we are, we have the power to stand for what is right, and sometimes all it takes is one sincere tear to move the world. Thank you for watching this emotional and inspiring story. If it touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories that reveal the beauty of Islam, the strength of the human spirit, and the moments that bring us closer together. Stay connected, stay compassionate, and keep seeking the truth.